Adam Schefter is brought to you by Orthopedic ASAP Clinic. It is available at both their Brookfield and Pewaukee and McGuanago locations. All physicians are fellowship trained in specialty orthopedics. They are board certified or board eligible and have advanced training in their respective fields. What does all that mean for you? It means that if you find yourself in a situation where you need an ER or you need an urgent care, go to Ortho ASAP instead. Patients can walk in and be seen without an appointment. It is faster, it is easier, it is less expensive than those alternatives. They offer physical therapy, MRI, and outpatient surgical procedures. There is a difference when you use Ortho ASAP. Just like there is a difference when Adam Schefter is on with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, bringing the information and bringing the insight. Good morning, Adam. How was your Thanksgiving?
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Jen, did you enjoy Ann Arbor?
I did enjoy Ann Arbor. And Adam, I actually am headed back to Ann Arbor for Selection Sunday. I will be standing by with the Michigan Wolverines as they find out where they will be in the college football playoffs. So I may need to help you. I may need to have you help me grease the wheels a little bit up there.
Well, hold on. First of all, is that this Sunday?
It is, yes. After championship Saturday.
Okay, so first and foremost, you must go to Zingerman's. You've been to Zingerman's, right?
I haven't.
Jen, I am so disappointed in you right now, okay? I'm going to text you, okay? But there is a delicatessen on the campus of Ann Arbor. And as somebody who lives in New York, I would say this now. It is, and it's not close, it's the best deli in the world.
That's amazing. I was watching on the stream, and you can watch the stream on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy's Twitter account. And when Adam dropped his head in like sheer parental disappointment right there, it stung my soul is what it did, Adam. It dug right in there. And I apologize for letting you down all these times that I have been to Ann Arbor. You must have enjoyed that game tremendously.
I'm going to send you the name of the place. I'm going to send you the number. I'm going to send you the sandwich that I order, okay? And you'll be very happy. You can thank me afterwards.
I certainly will.
Unbelievable place. Before you leave this,
we're losing Adam Schefter. I can hear he's going into the digitized version of Adam Schefter. Adam, are you there?
Yeah.
Give me an ABCD.
Yeah, you hear me?
Oh,
yeah,
you're back. Okay, good.
You
Yes, you're back. So what I want to ask you about is, what was the league reaction to Green Bay beating the Lions? Was it, this Green Bay team is better than we thought, they're coming along, or was it, maybe the Lions aren't as good as we had been giving them credit for?
I think people see this Green Bay team, and I think they see a team that's improving, and it's played better. And here's the deal. If Jordan Love is going to play like that, then of course you're going to feel really good about that team. And he played exceptionally well that day. They came on right away, and you could see that he was going to be on the mark, delivering strikes. If he plays like that again Sunday night, they have a chance to win the game again, and they have a chance to get on a roll here. So it would be whole issue. He started out this season, but like that, then he could, and now we're back to making those plays. So will the real Jordan Love please stand up? I think it's more along the lines of the guy that's going to make those plays consistently, but you need him to do that regularly. We can't have that drop-off like you did in the middle of the season, like that Monday night game against the Las Vegas Raiders when Jordan Love was my fancy quarterback and I needed 8 points.
Oh, there it is.
The game. And he got me six, right? Like, oh my Lord, like, what are we doing here?
So, Adam, our beat writer here, Jason Wilde, we are talking Jordan Love signing an extension. He wasn't sure if there's a rule because he had just signed one, I believe, in May. He wasn't sure if there was a rule that you had to actually wait a year in order to sign another extension. Is that correct?
That has been a rule in place. I don't know if it's still in place with the CBA. If I had known in advance, I would have found out for you. Sure, you gotta take my number. Shoot me a text in advance if you have questions like this. I'll get you the answer in advance.
Sorry.
But that has been a rule where you're only allowed to rework an NFL contract once within a calendar year. I don't know if that's still the rule. That was the rule recently. I don't know if it's still in effect. So, again, if it were, they'd have to wait in the first week in May to redo his contract. Which, by the way, want and finishes strong. You come to an agreement with a guy. Okay, we're going to re-sign you to a contract that pays 4-year. I'm making this up. A 4-year, $140 million extension. And we have it in place, and we'll stick it in the draw, and we'll sign it on May 5th or whatever date that is, past the May date that he did the restructure last year. I remember he did it the Tuesday after the NFL draft, because I remember I was at a charity appearance and seeing a charity appearance, I got the text that under a new contract. So that would be the first week in May, if my math and memory are correct, and I would bet it is.
Adam Schefter hanging out with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. Adam, are we to believe that Frank Reich cannot coach? Is that what we're to believe after the developments in Carolina, or is this just a product of a very, I don't want to say toxic because that always feels like it carries a lot more weight, but just a bad situation that team and that franchise is in?
Here's what I would say about that. It looked like from afar he had lost his energy and enthusiasm for coaching that team for whatever reason. And I know that he was looking to not be back. Okay, like he was interested in not returning. There was communication about that with other people. And I think David Tepper did him a favor and made it very simple and said, I'm going to fire you, and I'll pay you the remaining $25 or so million on your contract. He has 3 years left. And so now Frank gets the money. He doesn't have to continue with a job that I don't think he wanted to go on doing. I don't think he's going to coach again. He made that pretty clear the other day in an interview with the Charlotte Observer, although that's right after you get fired, right after you've been through an experience. Who knows what happens and how you feel after a few months when you've recharged the battery and you might feel differently. But he's been a head coach now, fired twice in the first year of a deal in each of the last 2 years in Indianapolis and in Carolina. My sense is I'm going to believe him when he says he's done coaching. I think he's done coaching. I think he's had enough of it. Now, that doesn't excuse the atmosphere that's gone on there, because obviously it has not been what people wanted. It's been a bad season for the Carolina Panthers. The quarterback has not developed the way that they wanted or hoped. And even worse, the number one overall pick in the draft that would be their possession belongs to the Chicago Bears, which that pick is going to be worth a haul. Now, the Bears could go and use it on a franchise quarterback to play in the Packers division for the next 15 or so years, or they could trade it for a package comparable to the one that the Panthers gave them last year, when the Panthers gave up DJ Moore, a 1, a 2, another one that's going to be the number one overall pick, and a 2 in 2025. That has the makings to be a horrendous trade. Now, we'll see. Bryce can salvage that. It's all on Bryce. But they need him to develop, and that's why David Tepper made the move that he did, because he felt like his biggest investment, his biggest prize, his most important asset, Bryce Young, was not being protected, developed, improved the way that he needed him to be. And so he fired a guy that wanted out. He got out. He got his money. They go on, and we'll see if they can now bring along Bryce the way they wanted and hoped.
Adam, what is going on with the Jets? You got Alan Lazard, a healthy scratch. You got Hackett's offense is a disaster. Are there going to be changes there at the end of the year? It seems like they're a mess.
Well, Green Bay's probably enjoying some of this, because these were the moves that Aaron wanted them to make, right? Aaron wanted Alan Lazard there. Aaron wanted Randall Cobb there. Aaron, I know they hired Hackett before, but I'm sure, they knew if and when they got Hackett that it was only going to help the chances that they could land Aaron Rodgers. So this is the system that Aaron wanted. These are the people that Aaron wanted. This is Aaron's influence on that team. The problem is that Aaron hasn't been there to play quarterback. So it hasn't gone very well when there is somebody else trying to throw the football to Alan Lazard or Randall Cobb or run Nathaniel Hackett's system. Aaron can do all those things. Others can't and haven't been able to do it. So it makes it look like it's just bad. I mean, they brought in all these pieces for him, but he's not there right now. And so it looks bad. It's a bad look. And until he comes back to validate those moves, there will continue to be questions about them, like you're asking. But he's the only one that makes that work, and he's not there to make it happen.
Do you think, looking at that team now, even if Aaron was playing on it, they were a Super Bowl contender? Does Aaron make that? I mean, I know he'd make a difference, but that big of a difference?
Chewy, I truly believe we cannot judge what this team would have been with him. We have no idea. No idea. Because I remember Brett Favre being traded to the Jets and coming in, and before he hurt, I think it was his elbow, about 12 games into the season, they were like 8-4, 9-3, and then they struggled down the stretch. Do I think Aaron would have had them as a Super Bowl contender if he were long? I do. I think they would have been very good.
Okay.
But we're not going to know that. It's a moot point. But I think they would have been vastly improved if he had been healthy, but we'll never know what that would have looked like this year.
Adam, we were chuckling. I don't know if it was the last time we had you on. It feels like it was. When you were going through the Packers schedule and you were saying could win, might win, could win, could win. Then they go ahead and beat the Detroit Lions. I don't know that anybody's thinking that they can beat the Chiefs this weekend, but we talked about how they've got the Giants. He does, everybody. He thinks they could beat them. They've got the Giants on the schedule and the Panthers and the Vikings and the Bears. And we watched the Vikings and the Bears on Monday night, and woof, I don't know if that can be considered NFL football. It certainly didn't feel like it. This feels like you might have been onto something, right? If that first hurdle was them beating the Lions, which they did, and now the Packers find themselves in a position where they're just right on the outside looking in of a playoff situation. Should Packers fans hitch their hopes to this team making the playoffs, or is it just gravy, the cherry on top, if in fact they find themselves in the playoff field at the end of this transition season?
Jen, I would say it's your right to ask that question, right, about whether fans can get excited about playoff possibilities. I guess I would just think like this. Like, let's just look at the schedule, call it up. I have my book right here. As you said, I want to look at this as we're talking about this to see how excited I'm. They're 5-6 right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
5-6, okay. They play the Chiefs at Giants, home for at Minnesota, home for Chicago. What I would say is, here's what I would say. If they found a way to win on Sunday night, to go to 6-6, I would say it's time to start thinking about the playoffs. Okay? I can't think about the playoffs until they reel off a couple more wins and get above 500. But if they're at 500, having beaten the Chiefs at home, the Lions the week before at Detroit, and get a closing schedule of at the Giants, home for Tampa, at Carolina, at Minnesota, home for Chicago, 5 games at 6-6, where I think they could go easily 3-2, 4-1 certainly. Yeah, I think, as I answer that question, if they can beat the Chiefs, I think it's time to start thinking playoffs.
So if Adam, if they do make playoffs, should Gutekunst be up for Executive of the Year for trading Rodgers and catching so much grief and getting rid of all of his guys and making the playoffs with these young players?
Well, he knew what he was doing, and he knew it was time to turn the page and that he had to. Mm-hmm. And he got as much back as he could. This was the direction they were always going to go. And they always felt, and this is what's interesting to me, is they always felt like this was such a young team that was going to improve as the season went on. And so we saw that last week in Detroit. And now the thing is, can we see it again in a back-to-back week against another top team? Am I putting him into the conversation of Executive of the Year? I don't know. I kind of like what Houston did. I kind of like what Denver's done here, which is, I guess that's more coaching in Denver than anything else right now, the way they've turned around the teams that they built in Philly and San Francisco. I don't know that he's Executive of the Year, but he's done a damn good job. And what they would have rolling moving forward would be pretty impressive. You look at the wide receivers, and tight ends and everything. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're excited about it. You feel good about it right now if you're a Packers fan. So, that made it a game thought they would. Starts feeling really good. Now we're giving Goody the executive of the year. Next thing you'll ask me if they beat the Chiefs, is Matt LaFleur coach of the year? That's the kind of conversations you want. When you're having those kind of conversations, that's usually a very good sign for what's going on with the team.
Adam, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. We'll talk to you again soon.
Jen, you'll be getting a text from me here very shortly.
Looking forward to it. It should improve my time in Ann Arbor drastically. He's Adam Schefter. You can hear him each and every week on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.